Hey everyone, it's Chris with Silent Flute. I'm outside the Bangalore airport, and this is going to be a headstand mini instructional. This could be a whole two and a half hour workshop and a lifetime to really master. So I'll just give you a few tips and pointers that have helped me, because I was a wrestler for years and years and I had a lot of neck injuries and I don't really have an aligned cervical spine. So headstand has the potential to really aggravate any imbalances that we have in our cervical spine. In addition, it is a weight bearing. When you do supported headstand, which is what I highly recommend, not a tripod headstand. A lot of gymnasts train tripod headstands, and if you don't have good alignment yet, that's no good. And so in a supported headstand, you're actually bearing a lot of weight on your forearms, which is really strengthening for the shoulders, the upper back, serratus anterior, triceps, and so on. You want to be on the rear fontanelle, or somewhere between the front and the rear fontanelle. So for me, it's right about there. Really, really important, keep your tongue relaxed. We tend to clench our jaw, especially in headstand. If you can, soften the tongue and bring it backwards in the mouth. Traditionally, the gaze point is the nose. You could close your eyes, or you could look somewhere at the horizon for stability and balance. Ultimately, that balance comes from a place just a few inches below your navel. And so I'll give you a few variations here. Forgive me if I miss any progressions, or if anything's redundant or too advanced for you or not advanced enough. This is just off the top of my head because I was out here practicing and someone asked me for a headstand video, or many people have actually, so this is for you. Okay, so first, when I make my grip, I tuck the bottom pinky under so I don't crush that knuckle, whatever the bottom hand is. Tuck the bottom finger under. I'd like to fully cup the head with the hand. Some people bring the heels of the hands together, and that gives them a little extra length through the upper arm bone, the humerus. If this is at a steeper angle, because my head is further back, I don't get as much length as if here. So people that have really short arms compared to their body, or especially compared to their neck, maybe you bring the heels of the hands together, and that's what touches the back of the head. Ultimately, somewhere in the middle of the forearm is where you want most of the weight. But definitely feel the connection of the wrist and the elbow to the ground. Notice the tricep flexes. We're not trying to do a no-handed headstand right now. We need to feel very comfortable balancing upside down and breathing deeply. A soft palate, soft jaw, soft gaze. So it really induces that parasympathetic mode of mind. Okay, so once you establish and get your head set, and I'll move back on the mat for a moment. Actually, I'll just go ahead and start there. You really want to be protracting the scapula. So as I'm here, notice the difference between scrunching the neck and pulling down. Now that pulling down is kind of an illusion, because it's actually pulling forward with the scapula, and that naturally brings it down. There is a little bit of pulling down with the lats and a lot of serratus anterior. So go back, I'll tag my videos below for engaging lats and serratus anterior, so you know precisely what that motion is. Okay? So even if I come up to my feet with straight legs, it's that same story of, am I scrunching or am I protracting? Scrunching, protracting. So you might even do that a few times to really familiarize yourself, and stamp down through the forearms somewhere between the front and rear fontanelle on the head. So I walk my feet in as close as possible with straight legs, super straight legs, locked even. And this is headstand. Even back here is headstand. Even this is headstand. My head is below my heart. This is a headstand. Walk your feet in as close as possible. Then you just take one leg up. So this is assuming you've already mastered scrunching versus protracting. So you're protracting, tailbone higher. Reach the tailbone away from the neck. None of this collapsing here, but reaching, and then one leg goes up. And just reach through that leg. If you've watched my videos on spotlight imagery, there's 10 spotlights. There's 3 videos, I'll link those below. Spotlight imagery is particular planes throughout the anatomy of your body that helps to align your body, energetically, skeletally, with the nervous system, so on. So in any asana, headstand is an asana, you run through those spotlights as you do the posture, as you transition into the posture, as you transition out of the posture. There's a transition in, there's a stop, That's where you hold the pose and you breathe, and there's a transition out. And you need to distinguish clearly the transition and the pose. Am I in transition or am I in the pose? And throughout the transition and the pose, you run through spotlight imagery, but obviously when you're holding the pose, it's easier to run through the imagery. Transitioning sometimes it takes a mental effort. That's what practice is. Okay, so you have your foundation, you are reaching through the tailbone, so you lengthen tailbone to crown. Your gaze point where you are on your head, straight legs, reach one leg up and then do the other leg. If you can do that, then eventually you'll come to balance. A really key thing is ribs in, ribs in, ribs in. Keep doing that. You know, BNS Iyengar was drilling me on that, just kept poking my ribs, and I have pretty good alignment. So you know, and definitely taking pictures of yourself or recording yourself doing a headstand, especially if you don't have a teacher, but even if you do, it's really good to get that biofeedback and see where are you carrying the weight, because you feel it in certain places in your body, but that might not be for the reasons that you assume. Okay, and then it's always an inhale up, exhale down. So even if you're just reaching with one leg, that's an inhale, exhale, the leg comes down. It's a good pattern to have. And let's see, any last bits? When you come out of headstand, this is excellent therapy for the neck. So I was just up in headstand, exhale, I came down, my feet touch, I come to my knees, and I drag the forehead. Notice how I didn't pick the head up. As I sit back, my forehead kind of drags. This is a traction on the neck. I don't have to drag it far, it could be just a millimeter, but just getting that pulling from the forehead. And then after a few breaths, I might start to rock it side to side gently. Still maintain that pull on the forehead the whole time. And more recently, what I've been doing is interlacing the fingers over the head and letting the vector of forces that way. So now I'm pulling from the back also. So as I sit back, the forehead is being pulled that way and the back of the head is being pulled that way. And that's a really good place to find some traction. And that will help keep your neck healthy after you transition out, after you transition out of the headstand into the next pose. So comment below if you have any questions. If you like this video, like it, share it. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Namaste, Ninth Len.